and welcome to the WIHS Journal Public Affairs Program. I'm Jerry Williams. Well, today you're going to hear my conversation with Edward Andrews. He's the CEO of Script, and he's going to be explaining what that's all about and more. That's happening now on the WIHS Journal. It's news and public affairs. All right, I am with the CEO of Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program, Edward Andrews. Edward, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, thanks for coming. First time in this area?
First time in this area. Yeah.
So you have this event that's coming up, but before we talk about the event, let's talk about the Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program. What is that all about?
Second Chance Reentry Program was established in 2019. It's a nonprofit where we deal with specifically trauma. Trauma for us, people of color, that somehow always being overlooked. You know, my experiences, unfortunately, I came from a background where prison was involved, served 22 years. As I was released, I just saw that there was a lot of gaps. To me it was. And a lot of these agencies be concentrating on giving you jobs, like that's like the sleeping pill. And no one is really when I first came home, addressing some of those internal conflicts that we have within ourselves, like trauma. And so that's what we basically concentrate on. It's like we turn into be a clinical agency. And one of the signature program out of Script is called Ascend. And Ascend is like a 15-week program. 8 weeks of the 15 is dealing with trauma, addressing trauma, urban trauma. A lot of us don't understand why we respond or react the way we do, not knowing where all of this comes from. So that's what we do. We try to get to where it's really coming from. You know, it's just tiring just to keep on seeing our mass incarceration, our health. And I was just trying to, you know, what I want to leave behind is just me trying to help my community out instead of burying my community.
If you're just joining us, I am with the CEO of Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program, Edward Andrews, and you call it SCRIP, and that's an acronym for Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program.
Yes, sir.
And you're based out of
Hartford, Connecticut.
I understand that you have a home for those to help those out that you just started a couple of years ago.
Yes, sir. So as I said, we started off with just doing the program called Ascend, but it was so impactful that we was allowed to extend my vision. So we opened up a residential house for these kids from the ages of 18 to 24, who I think that is really needed, because as I heard, they're starting to ship a lot of these kids out of the state because there's no room for them. And it just kicked on my conscience. The program is like a 9 months. It's called CARE, Comprehensive Adult Reentry. We don't call it a halfway house. We don't call it a sober home. We call it the care home. And so out of the 9 months, the first 3 months, the guys has to sign their name on a promissory note. They are not to look for jobs or anything. Within those 3 months, we concentrate on ourselves. From 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 at night, we bring structure, and it's wrapped around services. So the services consist of one-on-ones with the EMDR, one-on-ones with case manager, and one-on-ones with the sex trauma counselor. You have the trauma intervention. You have career development, also financial literature, addiction services, yoga, and meditation. And last but least is a nutritionist that come and cook the guys food, and also a physical trainer. All of this within 3 months. After the third month, they're ready to have a job, employment. And from that employment, they work 3 months to keep all their money. And after the third month, they have to just start taking accountability.
Edward Andrews is my guest, CEO of Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program, also known as SCRIP. You have this event that's coming up. Talk about that.
Yeah, this event is something that's, is a motivation for me. This is my first year doing a fundraiser. I'm excited. I'm just trying to promote it so we can get the right type of crowd out there. So far, we have Carmelo Anthony. We got Yusuf Salam from the Exonerated Five. And the keynote speaker is Julio Medina from out of New York. He has one of the biggest reentry out in New York called the Exodus. And so I got encouraged to do what I'm doing behind that brother, Julio Medina. He was one of those guys who came inside of DOC and visited me. And when he did the visit, it inspired me to know that I'm coming home someday. And when I do come home, I want to capitalize for being away for so long. And here we go, script.
I see Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, he's a former NBA superstar for the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm a Warriors fan because I'm from Oakland, California. But I remember Carmelo, how he was one of New York's beloved players.
Yeah, because he come from there.
You guys did pretty good last season.
Yeah.
You made it to the playoffs.
Looking forward for this year.
You guys are starting to make some noise finally after all these years, Mm-hmm. So again, this event is going to take place where and what's the date?
So the event take place next Thursday, August the 22nd from 6 o'clock to 10 p.m. at the Duncan Park in Hartford, Connecticut. Entertainment, food, the graduates will be graduating. The stakeholders could see, where their money being invested in.
And again, in a nutshell, this is all to benefit
my population, my guys and girls who might be coming home or just suffering from being unhoused or just, addiction. We cover a lot of grounds. And right now we want to continue to grow. So this is why I'm out here trying to, be on the front line and try to ask, those to extend their courtesy or their generosity and make this be successful.
So this is going to take place again Thursday, August 22nd, 6 p.m. at Duncan Park in Hartford. That's where the Yard Goats play. The first annual?
First annual, but it's my 5 years for being established. So it's a first year fundraiser, but it's the 5 years gala that we celebrating.
Well, I think it's a good cause. I pray that it goes off successfully and that God is with you in doing this great endeavor from your heart to help those who are dealing with the complications and the struggle of reentry after being locked up for so many years, because that's tough. I was one of those who was locked up at one time, but God has transformed my life. So I bid you well and stay the course and don't be discouraged. He's Edward Andrews, CEO of Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program, also known as SCRIPT. And again, the event, it's an anniversary gala and fundraising dinner, August 22nd, 6 p.m. at Duncan Park. That's where the Yard Goats play there in Hartford. Anybody want to reach out to you, how can they? What's your contact information?
So that's what I was about to offer. So my the email is script.connection@gmail.com. Script.connection@gmail.com. The website is www.scriptconnect.org, and the phone number is 860-400-2488. Contribute, come down for the cause. We only got 13 tables left, and we're just trying to fill it with our peoples to enjoy ourselves and to know about ourselves at the same time.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you for sharing, brother. And like I mentioned before, I hope everything goes well with you and it's a success and what you got going on will grow and that you will make a powerful difference in people's lives that's reentering back into society, who needs that hand and that proper foundation to get right first before they get out there into the world. Thank you so much for sharing.
Appreciate it.
And once again, you just heard my conversation with Edward Andrews, and he's the CEO of an organization called SCRIPT, which is an acronym for Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program. And once again, their anniversary gala and fundraising dinner is happening Thursday, August 22nd, 6 p.m. at Duncan Park in Hartford. If you would like more information about what you heard today, call WIHS 860-346-1049, 860-346 888-446-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and not necessarily of those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Jerry Williams for the WIHS Journal. It's news and public affairs.